Um, I'm Anthony Brogdon. You on Strong Inspirations, where we give it to you straight, no chaser. Man, as you've been watching these videos, you know I don't tell it. I just come up with some questions, and I'm lucky enough to find good folk, heavyweight, educated, smart people who can articulate the story very well, and I go from there. So come on, my friends, hit that subscribe button. It's free. Hit the like button on this video. Hit the notifications bell so you get a little ding every time I do another video. And man, as you might notice, I'm putting up 4-5 videos a week, and I'm gonna consistently do this. I'm gonna keep coming at you because I'm finding people calling me now, and they like what I'm doing. And then do this for me. Tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. Tell somebody. Let some other people see this. All right. And when you get some more time, watch my movie, everybody. I'm a filmmaker. I'm serious about my situation. I'm serious about telling you how slaves went to college, black millionaires in the 1800s, slaves who bought their freedom. I got it on film on my DVD, and it's streaming on Amazon. So you don't even have to get the DVD. You can just watch it on your computer and your laptop, whatever, on your TV. And then if you like to read, if you're not a big reader, this is a good book for you, because I give it to you straight, no chaser, even in my book. I just give you the fact. I don't even give you no commentary. I'm not gonna, the fact stands for itself. You can figure out the rest. And I give you the reference in the back so that you can look it up and say, hey, I can learn more. Get my book, Black Business Book. It's on Amazon also. And it's an ebook too. You ain't even got to get the hard copy. But if you get the hard copy, I'll autograph it for you because I'm excited that you want to get this stuff. And so without further ado, let me bring on my brother. And brother, tell us your name and a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Coleridge Franklin. I'm a practicing physician. I live in Mobile, Alabama, and I belong to a very proud family of Alphas.
Yeah.
When I say a proud family, I'm talking about there's 14 of us that have been inducted into that fraternity that started back in 1910. And today we're going to talk about my grandfather.
His grandfather. Hold on, man. Now, hold on. So now, Mobile, you a doctor? What kind of doctor are you in Mobile, man? I'm proud of you.
I'm a family physician.
Yeah.
You know, I see everybody from the cradle to the grave.
Really?
And I've been practicing medicine for over 40 years now.
Now, where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to school?
I went to undergrad at Xavier and went to medical school at Meharry Medical College in Nashville.
Oh my God, the dean of the Black Medical School, Meharry.
Oh, well, it's the oldest, yeah. We've been around for a minute. It's been around for a minute.
Now, and so I'm gonna divert before we get to the main subject. What was it like going to Meharry? Was seeing all that history there? Was that amazing?
It was like being in any historically Black college or university. Okay, I mean, there was a certain kinship that you had there. It was a nurturing environment. I enjoyed the experience. It was difficult, it was difficult, but you felt like people on your side. All right.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really liked about Meharry was the fact that, they trained you to take care of our people. That's what we were trained to do.
Yeah.
Work in the neighborhood, to take care of folks who didn't have anything. Yeah. Harry did that in Nashville, and we actually flipped Vanderbilt and made them change their way they looked at things over time.
Really?
And the past presidents of Meharry, man, have done a little bit of everything. One of the at least two of them, I think, have been the Surgeon General. They have done and gone anywhere in the world that they wanted to go. So
Yeah.
I'm proud of the fact that I went to school and that I bring a different perspective, no matter where
Yeah.
I've been.
I like it. Now, okay, let's dispel the myth right quick. There's nothing at a medical school per se that like a Meharry can't give you that maybe a whiter institution could give you. What I mean,
Now
it's the same books for the most part,
that is
right?
completely and totally a myth. Okay, I've got classmates. Okay, one of the brightest guys I ever met. Okay, this guy, when he was graduate, the day he graduated from Meharry, he started a residency at Texas, down at the University of Texas, at Ben Taub Hospital, with one of the premier surgeons, heart surgeons in the world. Okay, and this guy took his surgery board, and he had spent 1 day in residence, and he passed it. That's how bright he was. Okay,
Ooh.
what he needed to learn was the technical skills. He needed to train his hands, and now he's one of the premier heart surgeons in the world. Okay, so it's got nothing to do with the institution. It's got to do with your brains are and how hard you're willing to work.
Which that kind of
Okay,
leads into what we were going to talk about. Uh, Black folks in that education, we were always striving and wanting that from back in the day. And so,
right,
when given the opportunity, we excel.
right. That's probably the most important thing, is being given the opportunity to do that. Okay, I've got many friends from Mobile who are some of the brightest people on the planet. You know, one of my childhood friends, man, is Lonnie Johnson. I don't know if you know who that is,
That name
but
sound
Lonnie
familiar.
Johnson invented the super soaker. And
Yeah, okay, okay.
you see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
but that's not his. I mean, he just happened to do that when he was, playing. All right, when he was enjoying himself. Yeah, but this guy's an astrophysicist, man. He works for NASA. He is inventing the engine, man, that's gonna run off of oxygen. Just plain oxygen and water. That's it.
Now,
Really bright kid. And he's
does
been like
does does and I know all the cities are like this. Is there a certain vibe among the Black community, among the Black people in Mobile, a certain sense of pride because of the Mobile history and Black history that gives y'all
that.
this attitude to excel?
Well, that part and parcel is part of the Mobile experience, man, when you're growing up as a kid. Now, I happen to know that you talked to my cousin,
Yeah,
uh,
sure.
you know, Carlos Finley.
Yes.
You know, Carlos is Carlos is out on the leading edge of that. Okay, he is he's running for the mayor of the city of Mobile.
Yes.
I think he's got a pretty good chance of
Yeah,
winning. He's a
yeah.
very bright
I
guy,
some people say
plenty
that
energy
too.
and stuff like that. But that is part and parcel to being from here.
Did you feel something growing up in Mobile? I know your parents had a lot to do with it, but is there let me tell you what I'm getting at. Being here, I'm in Detroit, right? And
Right,
Detroit, we had a Black mayor back in the 60s,
right.
Mayor Coleman Young. He
Yes,
gave
I
us
remember.
as Black folks a sense of pride to
Right,
excel.
right.
Did y'all feel that? Was there some that came through Mobile that made that happen?
So many people. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, when I say that, this city is filled with examples of how somebody who didn't start with a whole lot, brought a whole different vibe to this city. And I'm not just talking about in the Black community, I'm
Yeah.
talking about in the community at large. Okay, because you know, there are so many different examples. I mean, Hank Aaron is probably the biggest, is probably the biggest homeboy that we have. Okay.
Oh, Hank
And
Aaron's from
unfortunately,
Mobile.
right. Yeah, unfortunately we just lost. Man, I went to school with his daughter. Okay.
Okay.
But we were in the first grade, but still, that was before he left. But there are so many other people. Satchel Paige
He came
came
from
from
Mobile?
Mobile. Yeah. Okay. Billy Williams, Mobile. You know
Billy
what I'm saying?
D?
Yes. No,
Oh.
not Billy D. Williams. I'm talking about the baseball player.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got you.
The
I got
Miracle Mets. There were two guys on the Miracle Mets baseball team in 1965, Cleon Jones and Tommy Agee.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
these are all Mobile guys, man. There's a move afoot now to possibly create a baseball, literally a baseball team on a field in different parts of the city, where you could go from place to place to place. All right, and and it would be filled with guys who came from the neighborhood, literally
Yeah.
came from the neighborhood. Even some
Yeah.
white boys that came from the
I
neighborhood.
like that. I like that. And as again, as you alluded, I talked to your cousin. Mobile has a different vibe than, let's say, Birmingham and Montgomery in terms of
Completely
the
different.
civil rights, right?
Right, exactly. The big difference between uh, Montgomery and Birmingham was that it was totally violent. Well, yeah, we had marches down here and sit-ins and all of those things. And I went to jail and did all of those things when I was a teenager. Okay, but it was different in Mobile, and part of that has to do with the 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 work. There were people who were willing to put in the work. All right, and there was a certain uh, uh, I'm not gonna say passivity about it, but it was a gentler type of thing. All right. Don't get me wrong. We there was serious racism here in the city. Okay. But when it came to trying to fix it, there were people who were willing to work to make that better. Okay. And there's a whole group of folks that we could get into about that.
You
And
okay? Before we go on your thing, you alluded you went to jail for that.
yeah, absolutely. When I was 17 years old.
For what?
Well, I mean,
I mean, it was a civil rights thing. It
I
wasn't
don't
nothing
want to get,
else.
I wasn't gonna get way
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
weeds,
yeah.
but let's put it like this. I can remember standing face to face with a 18-year-old redheaded white boy who was trembling, but he had a fixed bayonet, along with me and every other person that was that was arrested that day. Okay, and it became it came with a great sense of pride. And the thing that I remember about it most was them little old ladies, man, with pocketbooks, man, and they straw hats on. And they said, "Look, gonna take me to jail," and they didn't think about it. They didn't even think about it. In fact, they were ready to take and do what needed to be done because they were sick of it.
I
Okay.
like that.
Oh yeah. See, and so when you go to Birmingham and you see, when you see, uh, the church and you see the park that they erected, you see AJ Gaston's building. Okay, you talking because you started off talking about black business.
Yeah,
AJ Gaston, man, was the richest man in Alabama.
yeah, sure.
Black man. He had so many buildings. He had so many different businesses in Birmingham that they did not dare mess with him because he was so powerful. Because he was so
Yeah,
powerful.
I
See,
like
so
that.
and of course these guys they work behind the scenes. Okay, he funded a lot of things that happened in Birmingham with the
Yeah, that's what I was
SCLC.
told. Yeah,
I mean, he absolutely did, and so
yeah,
he is a revered figure here in Alabama.
yeah,
And I'll tell you something, man. One of the people that they revered was my grandfather.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was heard, man. Now, what was
Oh
his
yeah.
name? And so what? Yeah, tell us a little about him.
Well, he originally was from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Now, what's his
That's where he
name?
grew
What's
up.
his name?
His name was James Alexander Franklin,
Okay.
and he was one of two children. I don't know a whole lot about his entire family in Tennessee because he left there when he was 17 years old and went away to college. He went to school at Lincoln University in Lincoln, Pennsylvania, and graduated from Lincoln, man, when he was 19 years old.
So in 2
And
years.
that's right. And he went to medical school, man, when he was 19 years old. University of Michigan, in your country.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was that he was the only black in that class. He wasn't the first black. We weren't able to be, we have not been able to take and document it, but we know that in his class at University of Michigan, there was one black man and there was a woman, which I thought was remarkable back in 1914 when they graduated.
No question about it. And so
And
did he have brothers and sisters?
he had one sister, but I'm gonna tell you, man, my grandfather was not a real verbal guy. Okay.
Okay.
He was with his family. I know that his family's maiden name, I think his mother's maiden name was Cockerham, and that's about all I know about him. You know, yeah, because I knew him when I was a teenager, but he was not a verbal person with us, not really. With his children, certain children he was, but and the person that knew that history is long gone too.
Yeah, yeah.
His oldest son.
Now, but he went to U of M, because it's amazing that the U of M is in the top 10 of everything, top 5. It ain't no joke. You know, I mean, I'm not putting it above Meharry. Don't get me wrong. I ain't putting it over Meharry. But U of M, University of Michigan, is no joke.
Oh no, it was no joke. And that was what I found was very remarkable about him, man, because this guy graduated at the top of his class. And the thing of the more remarkable thing about it was the way he made his way through medical. He had to work as a janitor and as a waiter. Winter Michigan, he slept in the basement, man, and studied by candlelight. You know, but yet he still finished the top of his class with no holds barred.
Yeah, that's over the white people and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He was a very bright fella, man, and it was difficult for black folks back then, and even more difficult for him, because they wouldn't let him touch white patients, man. Even though he knew more than his classmates about how to take care of folks. When he left there, he came to Mobile, and by way of another time, but that's another story.
Yeah.
There are so many stories about him that are remarkable.
But he was in the service, wasn't he?
Yeah, he joined when he left Michigan, he came back to Chattanooga. He taught school for a year because he didn't have enough money to start a practice, so he taught school for a year, and then he joined the military, and he worked in the Army Medical Corps, which was highly unusual, and went to World War I. The highest rank that he could receive was a sergeant, because anybody else would have been an officer. They would have gone as at least a captain, but they didn't do that for him. So he spent his time there, and when he came back to the United States and ultimately settled in Evergreen, Alabama. And
which is, how far is that from Mobile? How far is Evergreen from Mobile?
About an hour and a half from Mobile. Okay, and the thing about it, this is a rural community, okay? And this is, particularly in the coronavirus era that we're in, remember they talk about the last flu, the last epidemic that they had, pandemic they had in the world, was the Spanish flu. Well, that was when he started practicing, during the middle of the Spanish flu. And ultimately what happened was that led to him ended up in Mobile, because he had a neighbor that lived about a half mile away. Wife got sick. They didn't have chick or child. All he had was her. They didn't have no money. The white doctors in the neighborhood, in that community, wouldn't see them because he didn't have a way to pay them. So what he did was he came to my grandfather's house and he said, "Please, you come see my wife, because I don't want to lose her. That's all I got." And so he tended to that woman, okay? And she survived, right? Well, the white folks got wind of the fact that he had touched her. And so they were going to lynch him.
Oh, and my God, I didn't know where you was going with that.
Yeah, they were going to lynch him. And so the farmer said, "Look, I hear that they come to take you away. He loaded them into his truck. He took us to the next town, and he gave him all the money he had, and it was just enough money for him and his wife. And I think at that time they only had about 2 children, and they made their way to Mobile, or at least to what the other thing, another big land. And this is things like Africa Town. Well, when I was growing up, that was called Plateau. Africa Town is another story, okay?
Yeah.
But those people, the people he took care of, those slaves were still there. Cudjo Lewis was still in Africa Town then, okay? And he took care of that community for years, and then he eventually opened a practice in Mobile, which is, a couple of miles away.
Okay.
That's how he got started. And he practiced in
what a story.
56 years.
What a story. And so everybody, if you might not know this, our fraternity, the Phi Alpha fraternity was started in 1906. He pledged when?
He probably around 1910, some 1912. I have a picture of a fraternity meeting, and if you want me to send them to you, I can do it. But
yeah,
there's no way for me to know when it was taken, because the original was so deteriorated. It took the guy 3 weeks to kind of put the picture back together. And there's no date, but you could clearly see that the chapter name, and they have a poster of Cornell University, even though that wasn't at Cornell, it was
how many people were in the picture? How many people were in the meeting?
Oh, at least close to 20. I was surprised.
Yeah. So that's 20 Black guys at University of Michigan,
right,
in 1910.
Yeah, at least, yeah. Which is amazing. Well, think about it, okay?
Yeah,
the history of fraternity, they started off with 7 or 8.
Yeah, no question.
In 1906. So at Cornell, so it was part and part. And I met a fella from Indiana whose grandfather went to the University of Indiana. He was the only Black person there, and this fella was a physician too. I think that he became legendary in the town that he lived in, as did my grandfather over time.
What a story, brother. Man, I tell you, everybody, this is what we talk about on Strong Inspirations. I find some of these unusual stories, and this is one of them. And then what happened was his grandfather was so tight that it ran through the family, and now he a doctor. That's what happens. Them brains ran down the family.
Well, let me tell you something, okay? You're right. I've been fortunate enough to be influenced by him, but he learned that at the foot of a master too. He had somebody that taught him. He had an uncle who started a college in Marysville, Tennessee. Swift Memorial is still open, man. This guy had his doctorate in divinity, and he was
in 1905 and something like that.
Yeah, it's been around, man, for a long time. Matter of fact, they still honor him every year because he started that school. And I have a daughter that's a physician too. It runs all through the family, man.
Yeah, it runs in the family, man.
My dad was a pharmacist. I got uncles that are pharmacists, all of them alphas. Okay. Yeah. All of them. Unfortunately, most of them.
I know. I heard about your uncle. That's what Carlos was telling me. Yeah.
Yeah, Carlos's dad was an alpha.
Yeah.
So we grew up with that alpha kind of light shining on us,
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, it may have taken us a while to get there, because it took me a minute. All right, I didn't even consider it until I had finished when I came back to Mobile after 35 years away.
Yeah.
You know, so I went through the process when I was 62 years old.
Yeah.
You know? Y'all thought I was a little bit crazy, but it was something that I just kept deferring because I had other things that I was doing at the time. You know?
Yeah, everybody, that's offline talk. But hey, brother, Dr. Man, I sure appreciate you being on Strong Inspirations, telling this story. It's amazing. This happened in his family, everybody. He's living proof of this.
Right.
How far back this smarts thing go with Black people. You can't hold us back. That's why we strong.
Exactly.
That's why we strong. I thank you so very much for being on the channel. Everybody hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notifications bell, tell somebody about Strong Inspirations, watch my movie, read my book. And to you, my brother, I want to say this. I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. We appreciate what you're doing down there in Mobile and keeping them people healthy. And I know you're doing a good job at it. And your daughter and everybody else in your family. I'm coming down. I want some iced tea, some sweet tea when I get there, and some catfish. Everybody, thank you so very much.
We're gonna do a little bit more of the sweet tea, man.
Yeah.